Hi everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Intuitive Queens podcast. I am your host, Mara Marchesi, aka the Intuition Queen. If you're new to this podcast, welcome. And if you've been listening and watching this for a long time, thank you for coming back. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am an intuitive and creative coach, a healer, psychic, and obviously a podcaster. And I'm really passionate to help people, entrepreneurs, and creative people to release any kind of blockages, fears, limitations, anything that stops them from being their true self. And I do that helping you to connect to your intuition, because I really think that trusting yourself is the most powerful thing and tool that we have, because nobody can stop us when we are able to trust our decisions and ourselves and what our soul wants us to do. And in doing that, we often come across a lot of obstacles that could be fears, could be limiting beliefs, could be subconscious situations that we don't even know about. And sometimes we feel stuck, we feel like we cannot move to the next level, and we don't really know why. And it doesn't matter if you're very successful, a little bit successful, how you define that. But my passion is really to help you to unlock all of your potential so that you can truly be yourself and create the life that you truly desire. And step into the frequency of abundance, love, success, friendship, anything that you truly want. So this podcast is here because I wanted to share as many stories as possible of people that have decided at some point to trust their intuition and really change their life. So you're going to hear all kinds of story, people that have gone through really traumatic experiences in their life, painful ones, some that actually didn't have that much of a challenge, but still they had to come out of the closet, as they say, to show the people that they were a spiritual being and they could actually create a life that was different from the path they had started with. This podcast is here to inspire you, to help you to get clarity, to take action. And I hope you find some help in here, either with the stories that I'm going to share or with the stories that my guests are going to share. Enjoy it. Today, we're going ahead with part 2 of Quantum Shift, 8 practical steps to align with your future self. If you have not listened to part 2, which was last week's episode, I do recommend you to listen to it, because I gave you the first 4 steps to help yourself attune to your future self and get that energy to come closer to you right now, rather than waiting to get to whatever future it is that you're waiting for. So today I am going to give you 4 more practical steps that can help you to attune to your future self. And once you have all of them, if you follow the order of the first and second episode, I will promise you that you will get as close as possible to your future self, and you will start to see synchronicities, opportunities, and things happening to you that will take that vision of the things that you want to achieve closer. And I'd love to hear from you. Okay, so before I start with the 4 steps for this week, I want to just give you a quick recap of what we talked about last week. So last week I talked about the first step, which is to set clear intentions. And the second step is to visualize and connect to your emotions. The third step was gratitude, being grateful for who you are, where you're at, what you have. And the fourth step was to heart coherence and energy alignment. So making sure that you connect to your heart. If you haven't listened or watched to last week's episode, and so to those 4 parts, the link is in the show notes, so you can go back and listen to it. And it doesn't matter if you listen to this episode before the other one, you can connect them, you can do the steps in the way that makes more sense for you. The order that I chose makes a lot of sense for me to do one thing after the other, but it's really up to you. You have the freedom to choose the best way for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the 5th step to help you connect to your future self and align to that vision so that you can bring it towards your present. One of the things that is really important is to raise your energetic frequency with movement. We are energy, and movement helps us to release stuck energy in our body. So, oftentimes, when we are maybe we're working on our goal and we're all excited and we're all happy, and then life happens, we do something, we meet someone, and we start to get upset, or sometimes we just really tired and for a few days we do nothing. Our body starts to keep all of those feelings. Some are negative feelings, some are just movement that you haven't had. And so the way for you to connect to all of those emotions and let them go is to move. So you can do yoga, you can do Pilates. I mentioned breath work last week. That's another way that you can actually use your breath to release all of the emotions that are stuck in your body. There are a variety of things. You can go for a run. It's up to you. You can dance, and that means you don't need to be in anywhere. You can just do it in your room, in your home. Maybe while you're cooking, as long as you make sure that you move your body. You can be very aware and ask yourself, where is the energy that is stuck? You will feel it and you can move that part of your body. So movement is very, very important. And when you're moving, visualize the energy of your future self and what is it that you want to achieve. So, for example, let's say that your future self is extremely excited and is always going around doing things. It's a very busy person. So, what's the energy of that busy person? You probably don't want to be just busy. You want to be energized busy, happy busy. So, how can you get yourself to bring that energy here, right now? What kind of movements do you have to do? What kind of music do you need to listen? Maybe you love going for a run, or maybe it's something else. You choose what are the movements. Maybe you love playing tennis, and that gives you that excitement, that energy, that adrenaline that you need to connect to that vision of your future self. Whatever brings you to feel as close as possible to that version of yourself that is in the future, having all of the things that you want to achieve. Okay, step number 6, act as if and embody the energy of the future self or your future self. Now, I know this is difficult for a lot of you, and it's been difficult for me. I'm not yet there. How do I behave like this? I want to. I had a client was like, "Yeah, I want to be a millionaire. So what am I supposed to do? Go out and about and buy things I cannot afford?" And I was like, "No, absolutely not. That's not what I mean." But there are things that you can do right now that you would potentially be doing in your future life. Okay, so obviously if it's about spending money that you don't have, no, you cannot do. If you're looking for a partner and right now you don't have one, and you cannot, for example, go for a date with this person, but you can create the atmosphere of a date at home. You can have the courage to go on a date with yourself. It's all about getting as close as possible with that feeling that you want to have. So, what can you do to act as if you already have it? So, if you had the money that you're looking for, the job that you're looking for, the kind of business that you're looking for, the person, the people, whatever, what would you be doing? Can you do something of that now? Of course, there are limitations because sometimes what we want to attract, what we want to manifest is something that involves other people that are not yet in our life. It's something that involves money that are not yet in our life. It's something that involves situation, things, people that are not yet in our life. And so we feel like we cannot connect to that energy. But there is always, I mean, like, it's you. It's just an evolved version of yourself. So maybe it's just about changing diet, for example, or changing a specific behavior. So what is your future self doing? Your future self is waking up earlier because she has this appointment in the morning. Your future self is eating differently. Your future self is exercising more. Your future self is going out more, so she's dressing up. Okay, how can you embody this? Because those are things that you can still do even if you haven't achieved what you want. So let's say that you're looking for a partner. How do you think you're going to look for a partner? Going out and meeting people. Okay, this is something you can do right now. Will you meet your person tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. But still get out. Get into that energy. Get into that mindset that that's already with you. You're going out, your partner is away for work, you're just going out. So it's a different kind of mentality that you need to start to have. And of course, you cannot have all of the things because you're working towards it. But some of the things you can play with. And this is what you need to focus on, because the more you get into that energy, the more you attract the next step, the next person, the next opportunity. But if you stay here being like, oh, yeah, I want someone, but I don't have anybody, so I'm going to stay home. Or, well, that's what's going to happen. You're going to stay home alone. But you can stay home alone and decide to have a date with yourself, and maybe, I don't know, cook something amazing and spend time cooking as if you had guests coming in. Set the table in a certain way for you. Do it for you. Enjoy yourself, connecting to that future version of yourself, even if there is something missing. That thing missing that you're trying to attract will come to you, but you need to start showing the universe that you are working towards it. And so you're not afraid, you're not worried that this thing is not coming, because you know it will. And you're acting as if it's already here. You're acting as if it's very close to you. You're not worried. This is the energy that you need to have. Not worried about. It's happening. Is it happening tomorrow? Is it happening in a few weeks, a few months? It doesn't matter, because it's happening. Is this self-reassured energy that you're doing it for you, and eventually you will doing it with someone else. I hope this makes sense. Let me know. Okay, the seventh step is releasing old patterns. I talked about this last week, and I told you that I was going to talk a little bit more about it this week. So what happens when you are starting to connect to the future version of yourself, when you're starting to connect to the things that you want to achieve, and why you're not getting them yet? Because all of us has wounds, all of us have patterns, and all of us is connected to the energy of luck. So when we think that we're not good enough, it's going to be impossible for us to get it, and things like that, this is what happens. We're believing that, and so nothing that you do will actually get you as close as to that thing that you want. You might get close, but somehow that will kind of escape. So one of the most common things that happens to everyone when you are looking to up level, to get out of your comfort zone, to achieve something that maybe it's bigger than what you ever had, it's something you never had, and there is something that happens within us, which obviously our mind wants us to keep us in our comfort zone, because we need to feel safe. Our mind needs to feel safe, because maybe we had been in past situations where stepping out of our comfort zone wasn't necessarily safe. And so there are mechanisms in place that as children, as adults, we have created in order for us to feel safe and not put ourselves in situations of danger, or not put ourselves close to people that make us feel unsafe. Okay. But the thing is that as we move forward and as we heal, as we work on ourselves, as we become older, those mechanisms might not necessarily be needed anymore. But our body doesn't know. And so our body keeps carrying those patterns with us. And so you're visualizing something that you want so much. You're connecting, you're taking all of the steps, and then fear starts to kick in. And then a thought that says, the inner voice that says, who do you think you are? That's never going to happen to you. Whatever happens, either on a mind level, so thoughts, or on a physical level, fears that feel very real, feel like it's happening now. Like, I want to make this much money, and you start to feel like, how am I going to do this? And then you start to worry about it. All of those mechanisms, all of those things that happen when we visualize, that are there to to stop us, are all amazing things that you need to notice. And the best way for me to release those things is to understand them and to really understand what's happening. So what happens when you envision the future self, your future self? What happens when you envision your future life? What happens when you envision the things that you want in the future? What kind of thoughts, negative thoughts, start to pop up in your mind? What kind of negative feelings start to happen? And write them down. For me, this is so powerful because oftentimes we don't realize the patterns. And you start to see, oh, every time I think about this specific situation, this specific feeling or this specific thought start to pop up. But it doesn't happen when I visualize this other situation. And then you start to connect the dots. Or maybe you realize that every time you think about, there is a specific fear that pops up. And then you start to realize that that feeling is connected to that vision. And maybe you're able to go back in time and think, oh, yeah, it happened even when I did that. And I was feeling like I feel now. But then eventually I did this. So you're able to see and understand what's happening. Other techniques that you use is EFT. If I find EFT extremely powerful because it helps you to connect your body, your mind, your energy with everything, and it works on an energetic level. And then, of course, the best thing for you to do is really to work with someone like me that does those kind of things, so can help you really get to the root cause of the problem. Oftentimes, our fears are so hidden that we don't know why we feel stuck in certain situations, and we might be doing some surface level work that can help us for a little bit, but then eventually we still get to a point where we can't move forward. And that's probably because there is more deep healing work that needs to be done. Maybe there is some inner child healing that needs doing, and you need to really understand, why is that fear? What is that connected? There is a lot of things that can be, but see how that plays out for you, because sometimes it's just really a matter of, okay, I realize that when I think about this, I feel like this. And if you start journaling about it, if you start kind of searching a little bit deeper, then you will see, like, your intuition will kick in. You will get messages that will help you understand why that feeling is there. What can you do? Often fear is simply an emotion that is there to alert us, to let us know, but we can push forward. And sometimes it's not the case, because maybe it's just something a little bit more rooted that needs to be seen, and pushing forward just makes it more powerful. So you will see which one of the two it is. Fear can be in two different ways. One that you push forward, and the other one just there because maybe it's something that you need to look at. And patterns, you can easily see them by yourself, and it's just like mechanism that we have that we tend to activate when something specific happens, and we are just often not aware of it. So writing them down can actually help you to realize that maybe there are specific situations, or there are things that you think about certain times that take you to feel in a different way, take you to see that the action that you want to take is always the same, the patterns are always the same. And so if you're able to realize that, that's a great information, because you can connect the dots, and then you can slowly start to unravel that. Because once you're aware, then you know that, oh, I am about to do this. Okay, no, wait, let me take a moment, let me take myself out of this picture for a second. And that's how you start to shift and change. Of course, if you need any help, if something pops up that you want to share with me, because I do this as with my clients all the time, so maybe you just want to hear from someone that actually understands a little bit better, I'd be happy to hear from you. Just message me on Instagram, the Intuition Queen. Links are in the show notes, and you can just tell me that you've been listening to this episode of the podcast and this has popped up, and we can hop on a call and I can give you some tips. It's really not a problem. Okay, so now we get into the last one. Last one is really tuning into the energy of possibilities. So in this episode, we talked about raising your energy and your frequency with movement, acting as if, and releasing our old patterns. Now it's about time you start to connect to tune into new possibilities. Once you have learned there are emotions that are holding you back when you tune into your vision, then it's about time that you start to think about the opposite. So, for example, let's say that you're tuning into your vision, you're connecting to the emotions, and fear of, let's say, like last week I talked about at the beginning of looking for a new job, and tuning into the vision of having a healthy culture, flexibility, amazing colleagues, amazing bosses, feeling happy, and all of that. Okay. So you are there and you're tuning into this vision, and there is a part of you that is tuned in, that is feeling whatever you want to feel. And then at some point, there is a fear of not being able to get this job. Maybe you are interviewing right now, you're going through the process. And so that fear starts to be like, oh, they're not gonna offer that to you, or, this has never happened. So we talked about releasing patterns. Okay. So now that you know what are your fears, what are your thoughts, negative thoughts, what is the opposite of that? What is the opposite of not getting the job? Is, of course, getting the job. It's what is the opposite on not feeling good enough, feeling that you're worthy? Okay. So now you need to twist that and turn it into the possibilities, and think about all of the possibilities, not specifically on a detailed level, but start to tune into the fact that you're of course going to attract new opportunities and possibilities in order to get you to where you want to go. And it really is about believing that all of those possibilities, all of those opportunities, all of those synchronicities are around you. And you can only do this step once you have taken all of the other steps, because especially with negative emotions and fears, if you're in that state, there is no way you can see an opportunity or a possibility. There is always going to be that chatter in your mind that goes like, it's not going to happen to you, or like you want too much money, or this doesn't happen. Especially because maybe you're talking to your friends and you're talking to other people, and people are telling you this is not possible. Maybe they're telling you you want too much. Ever heard someone saying that to you? So forget about this. Once you have taken all of those steps, then you can turn into the possibility. Really tune into the energy of possibilities and tune into the whatever needs to come through. And it's about, okay, so I can attract this kind of things. What is coming out from you? You will feel messages coming from you. What is the potential that you have in your future self? What is the thing that you can do? What are the skills that you have? You already have so much potential that it's not being used, that has been hidden, that has been taken away from you. Maybe because you have been in a job where people didn't want to see how great you are, didn't want to give you the satisfaction to letting you know that your skills are appreciated. So if this has been your experience, for example, you're always going to try to, your subconscious, your ego will try to keep you small because otherwise there is friction. And you need to take that and turn it around because you have all of those potential. So what is the potential? You're the potential, I don't know, to connect to so many people. Like, I don't know, say that you're going to a sales position and you're going to be a great networker, and business will come from there because you're magnetic. But maybe that couldn't happen in the previous job. And so you think that's not a quality that you have. So tune into the potential of yourself and the potential of the opportunities and synchronicities and doors opening. Okay. The more you do this, the more things will come out of the blue that will show you how this is true, and that will show you how closer you're getting to what you want, because the right people will come through. But it's important that you take all of the steps. And as I said, you can switch all of the steps, but I would say that whenever you do the step number 7, then you need to do step number 8 soon afterwards, because this is important, because those two are very connected to one another. You can switch all of the other ones, it doesn't matter. Like, well, obviously you need to have the intention. I would say first and second need to go together, and 7th and 8th need to go together, but then all of the other ones, you can switch them around and do it in the way that you like. So let me just recap all of the 8 steps. So the first one is setting a very clear intention and connecting to your emotion. The second one is visualizing, and again, connecting to the emotion of your future self. The third one is gratitude, being grateful for everything that you have. The fourth one is heart coherence and energy alignment, slowing down your heart breathing and get into a state of calm. The fifth step is movement, and moving your energy through movement, especially negative energy, fears. Movement is a great tool. The sixth step is acting as if. The seventh step is releasing old patterns. And the last step, the eighth step, is tuning into possibility and your potential. So those are 8 incredible steps. And I'd love to hear from you to know if this is helpful and how you're getting on. Feel free to message me. But those are really incredible steps. You can use them every time there is something important that you want to achieve, a big goal. You can use them for the new year. We're very close to the new year. So this actually is a great way to start thinking about what you might want to achieve next year. Where do you want to see yourself next year at this time? So it's a great way to start getting your mind, body, and spirit to work towards that future self that makes you happy and makes you satisfied. And if anything a little bit bigger comes through, you know, you can always get in touch. This is what I do. And if there is something a little bit deeper or a little bit more difficult that is popping up and you don't know how, and you feel like the steps are not really working or you don't really know how to use them, feel free to get in touch with me. I'd love to help you, and you can message me on Instagram. Now, the next episode, my next solo episode, now we're going into 2 more guests for the next 2 episodes. But in December, there's going to be a third part related to this. Well, I will actually help you to understand how you can use human design and color therapy to connect to the energy of your future self. So stay tuned. Try to do the exercises so then when I come up with the next episode, then you can all pull everything together. Okay, well, I hope this episode, the last episode, every episode is helpful. If you liked it, please subscribe. Please like it on YouTube, and feel free to share it to anyone that you might think needs to hear this. Any comments that you might have, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just leave it in the comments section. Otherwise, feel free to message me. You can find me on Instagram, The Intuition Queen, or on my website, theintuitionqueen.com. You can sign up to my newsletter. You can find me on LinkedIn. There are a lot of ways you can find me. All of the links are in the show notes. If you love this episode, feel free to leave me a review on iTunes. That will really help me to grow this podcast. And well, thank you so much, and I will see you next week.
Your future's at the door.